Hey guys, Shio here. Welcome to my level 1 run of Final Fantasy IX. This is a modded run where I lock the EXP with a mod on Moguri mods called No EXP+, but I can still gain AP from battles, because I personally think without AP, I would not be able to complete this run. Little side note, I've never fully completed Final Fantasy IX until now, so I've always really only gotten to Disc 3 and stopped there. So wish me luck on this run and hopefully you enjoy the video. Let's get started. Our first fight, where we play as Zidane, Cinna, Marcus, and Blank, all 4 playable members of the Tantalus group, and our first fight where we're gonna use Steel to get the Mage Masher. Mage Masher isn't necessary, but also makes the Sea Lion boss fight later really doable, instead of somewhat impossible in the Ice Cavern. Now we put on a little show for the nobles and the queen. I first tried it, surprisingly, to get 10k gold from the nobles and a moonstone later to help Dagger learn Shell. After stealing all I could from Steiner, I get ready for the evil forest. First off, in the Evil Forest, we get into 2 back-to-back battles against the prison cages. These fights aren't too noteworthy because you're more than likely going to be level 1 in these fights. Especially in your casual playthroughs, you're mostly going to be level 1 in these fights. After stealing all that I could from Baku, I get ready to save the princess by grabbing Vivi and Steiner to go save her. Are you guys ready? Because we're going to be getting into our first technical boss fight of the game. You're normally not going to be level 1 here. You might be level 3, but normally not level 1. So I got lucky here with Blank coming in at the last second and surviving with everyone else dying. It was really funny because I thought, oh no, is this going to be my first game over? Well, think again. Me think again. It's normally not going to be my first game over yet, until we get to the Sea Lion. So now we're in the Ice Caverns. This upcoming boss battle is going to be a big part of the challenge for the run. But before that, I grab every chest that I could find here for extra items and begin to proceed to the Black Waltz and Sea Lion fight. It took me a while to think up a strategy, so what I did was I put Zidane in the backline to have the incoming damage from the Sea Lion's wing attack, and making it so that one hit puts Zidane into trance. I then buffer a trance attack before the Black Waltz would normally hit, and defeating the Waltz in the process while being hopefully just enough HP to survive a wing attack and a Tsunami. This fight took at least 2 hours. It took me 2 hours of my time just to get the right RNG. I'm surprised it didn't take more, because it was very RNG heavy. Very RNG heavy to beat this fight at level 1. Now we're in the village of Dali, where we can do our first little trick of the run, the cotton robe trick. So buying a bunch of wrists here, you can later buy stuff in Lindblom to craft some cotton robes and then make money in return by selling the cotton robes. But after the whole sequence of getting into some fights with everyone, finding where Vivi went, and getting all that done, we then get into our next fight against Black Waltz 2. I have Bird Killer on Steiner to do some extra damage, and it's still not too difficult of a boss fight to complete yet, because you're normally going to be around the same level here like you would be in a normal playthrough. Like, it'd be surprising if you were past level 8 here, but then again, some people like to overlevel for these boss fights in their first playthrough. But the boss fight wasn't too bad. It wasn't too bad. Still not overly difficult. Still moderately fun. Still moderately easy to do. Now it's time for Black Waltz 3. I pretty much had Zidane steal here whenever he got the chance to, while having Steiner and Vivi use magic abilities. You saying Steiner can use magic? Yes, Steiner can use magic with his magic sword that Vivi casts upon him. So that's pretty much that there. So every time you do a physical attack, there's a chance for him to go up in the sky, which is why I didn't want Zidane to attack him, because then it would just pretty much wipe my whole team. I took a couple tries at this to figure it out, and this was the best run I could do, with Zidane always stealing and Steiner and Vivi always using magic. So after getting to Lindblum and letting Freya win the Festival of the Hunt to get the Coral Ring for her, which is going to be pretty much needed for later on in the game, and plus I don't want to really craft it because that takes a lot of gold and a lot of time, and I'm already spending a lot of time trying to figure out how to do the level 1 run. So either way, I finish that off and then go to Q's Marsh after Dagger somewhat betrays us, and get Quina. He/she, fun fact about Quina, he/she is a blue mage in the game. As well as, if you eat an opponent at near 1% HP, you can potentially learn a new spell from them. One spell that you can learn here, which is blue magic, is Limit Glove. Now, Limit Glove, believe it or not, is really, really good for this run. When Quina is at 1 HP, you can use Limit Glove to do 9,999 non-elemental damage to your target opponent. This includes pretty much every type of boss in the game. So we're going to be using this up until the end boss. So I learned that here, as well as every other ability that I can possibly learn in the first area. And then I went to the grotto, Gizmoto Grotto, I forget how you pronounce it. But here we get into some fights with some black mages. And then we get into a fight against some more black mages. We then do the Kupo, save the Kupo, and then we get into a fight with the boss. So pretty much, I was trying to figure out what did Limit Glove do, because I've forgotten what Limit Glove does. So I brought Quina down to 1 HP by getting lucky and getting a Phoenix down on her, / him, and restoring at least 1 HP. Then I did Limit Glove and then one-shot the boss, which was really surprising to me because I forgot what Limit Glove actually did. That was really good to learn during the run. So pretty much our next boss fight is against Beatrix. So this fight, all you gotta do is survive. Survive until the round where she one-shots you, and then it goes into the next scene. That's all you gotta do. So pretty much what I did here was use Phoenix down on anyone that died, and use Zidane to steal whenever possible, because any extra items are very much helpful within this run, especially when you can get them early. So pretty much after that, we just finish this off and get into our next area, which is going to be with Steiner and Dagger. Now on to our fight with Black Waltz 3 again. So pretty much this fight that I figured out after the whole run was completed when looking up some of these facts about these bosses, this fight right here, I didn't even need to fight at all, because if you let Steiner and Marcus die, Though Black Waltz 3 will be so confused because his main objective is to secure the princess, that instead of capturing the princess because it's like damaged, that it will literally damage itself until it dies. I was so peeved off because I wasted so many items here. But that is pretty much what you can do there. If you are struggling with this fight, I am very sorry for you. Because that's pretty much the strategy right there. Just let Steiner and Marcus die, and just watch the Black Waltz 3 destroy itself. And then our next stop is Treno.
Seven.
Now, after going to the auction house and buying the Reflect Ring, which I pretty much think is needed for a lot of bosses later on, especially a lot of the magic bosses, we then go to Gargan and then get into a fight with a purple snake. This battle wasn't overly hard, it was actually quite simple. All I did was I revived Steiner or Marcus or Dagger whenever they fell to like the Blizzara or Thundaga. You know, any of the magic damaging spells, and then pretty much whacked it down until it was 0 HP. It was actually a pretty simple boss fight for level 1. Now for our next fight against the Antlion. Antlion wasn't too difficult. Yeah, the attack where he blinds everyone was a bit annoying, but overall I believe I first tried this, and it wasn't overly hard. It was actually quite simple because all I had to do was use jump with Freya, as well as just keep everyone else alive while using magic with Vivi and a normal attack with Zidane. Because I tried to steal everything from the Antlion, but it was just too painful. It was too painful of a fight to do it at level 1 to try and steal everything. For our next fight against Beatrix. Again, this is a survivability fight. You survive so many rounds and you win the fight. But at the moment, it was quite difficult to keep everyone alive, but I somehow did it, and now we progress the story to the Hildegard, and to where we find Steiner and Marcus being locked up. Now we get into a boss fight against Zorn and Thorn. This fight was actually really easy because all you had to do was attack the one who has the power. He-Man, the power. I don't know why I just said that, but why did I just say that? But you just pretty much attack the one that has the power, that's been given the power to do like a flare or something, and once you attack him, that neutralizes it, so he doesn't AoE your whole team and destroy you. It was pretty easy, and then I saved Dagger. Somehow saved Dagger. So pretty much after saving Dagger, we got into a bunch of fights with Beatrix and Freya and Steiner, with Beatrix, Freya, and Steiner. And now we're in Gargan again. We get into a fight with the green snake looking thing, while having Dagger down at 0 HP. And Vivi also at really low HP. But I didn't survive the first fight against it because I accidentally attacked the boss while he was curled up. So second time around, I made sure not to attack when he was curled up so he didn't do an earthquake and wipe everybody. So this fight took some planning because I did have Reflect on Zidane, thankfully, for at the start of the fight when he does the AoE Thundaga. So it just reflects that back at the enemy, and then I was able to do the fight with ease. Now I get into a fight with the beautiful bounty hunter herself, Lanny, on our way to the which continent was it? The other continent. I've forgotten the name, so I'm just sleepy while doing this voiceover. So pretty much here, I ran Reflect on both Zidane and Quina, so that they could reflect back any damage done by water, fire, Thundaga, whatever spell that Laney wanted to use at the time, because pretty much every spell but Era, like the wind spells, I could reflect back at Lanny. And pretty much I had to keep at least 2 people alive at all times so that I can at least Phoenix down one person like my third guy, so that I can keep everyone continuously alive throughout the fight while I was continuously doing damage to landing back at landing. So it took a bit of tries, but I finally got it down and finally beat the boss. Now it's time for my next strategy in this game to get past some of these bosses. And it's what you call the gambler strategy, because this lucky 7 skill on Zidane, let's just say this, I took out my 20-sided die and started rolling it 200 times over until I got 7s. So pretty much the way lucky 7 works, you have to be on a divisible of 7 HP, like your last digit of your health has to be 7. Not a divisible of 7, but your last HP has to be 7. And you can use this skill to do 7 damage, 77 damage, 777 damage, or 7,777. You're somewhat gunning for the 7k one, and let's just say this, it is painful to do because it takes a lot of time. The Hill Gigas, for example, took me a lot of tries, but I finally did it. I brought Zidane down to 7 HP before the fight, and got into a fight with the Hill Gigas, and finally got enough damage done to actually one-turn the boss. It was painful, I have to say this. This boss fight was entirely luck dependent, again like the Sea Lion was, but what do you expect from a level 1 run? So pretty much we're now in the Iifa tree. The Iifa tree has a boss fight at the end of it, and let's just say this, you kind of need Zidane at 7 HP to be able to beat it. So during the first 2 fights while you're going down to the end boss fight of the Iifa tree, you gotta make sure to get Zidane down to 7 HP. This is the only way you can do this fight. It is the only way. I kid you not. It is so difficult without doing this way that you literally need to run it this way. You literally need to go for the gambler strat again. It is so painful, but I luckily got it on the second try of running it back on the two fights before the boss fight, and then I ended up getting really lucky on the boss fight, as you can see coming up right now. The Flaming Amaranth fight. So pretty much my strategy here was to run Distract while doing Lucky 7, because you need to do 7,777 damage at least twice to beat him, or 1 7k, 1 777k, and 1 basic attack. So I got lucky and was able to get 3 Lucky 7s off before I can do a basic attack, and it pretty much set the plan off right away. It took me a couple hours to do this fight because I had to get lucky with the Lucky 7s, because I needed at least 1 7k and 1 777 before I did a basic attack. I could have at least done 2 basic attacks, then 7k, but I wanted to test my luck at 2 7ks. is what I'm trying to say. So pretty much the fight took longer than needed, but it was still pretty fun. Now for the 3 fights against the Mistodons. They weren't too bad, almost died a couple times, but they overall went by quite smoothly, more smoothly than the Amaranth fight so far. Now it's time for the Mistodon fights that are pretty much 5 back-to-back fights with Steiner and Beatrix, both at level 1. So this was a lot of fun to figure out. Not really. But the strategy is to have Distract on Steiner while having Beatrix in the backline to dodge any incoming head attacks. And you gotta hope that they do head attacks, or Steiner and Beatrix would die. So you gotta gun for the head attacks, and you gotta use life on one of the Mistodons, or all the Mistodons with Beatrix, if Beatrix goes first. And you gotta do basic attacks with Steiner if Steiner goes first. So pretty much, Distract, keep Beatrix in the backline, and hope and pray that they don't use any types of spells, only charge attack / head attack. It took me a good hour, but I finally did it. Now I'm at the Arc boss fight. When I have to say that this has to be the most difficult fight so far, this has to be the most difficult fight I ever had to do in the game. Up there with Death Guys, which is coming near the end. So this boss fight, I had to hit 2 7ks with Zidane's Lucky 7 while doing charge attack with Steiner, with Zidane and Steiner at both low HP, hoping that he doesn't do a boomerang to one-shot my whole team, with Dagger not having clear-headed, so that if Dagger gets propeller wind and confused, I can't revive anyone. So I had Dagger with auto life. I couldn't put clear-headed on her with auto life because that would take up too much AP, and I had Quina because I thought Quina could use magic here because I haven't played this game in forever. I should have brought an Amaranth, but it was painful. Like I was like, do I give up? But I had to persevere. I had to persevere. It was the only way to get this run done, is to persevere. So I pretty much ran it until I got my right RNG, and this was the run. Now I'm against the system, against the defense system at Kuja's castle in the Desert Palace. This fight wasn't noteworthy. As long as you grab all the bloodstones and deactivate them, it's actually a really easy boss fight. Like, when I mean really easy, it's probably the easiest boss fight you'll ever have this late in the game. I'll just say that right now. My strategy for the Red Dragon fights was tense. I just tent them and let them die. And then on the first two Red Dragon fights, I somewhat wanted to eat one of them to learn Twister just for fun. It almost backfired on me, but I was glad that I did because it was so funny. I was so happy when I did this. So pretty much tent the Red Dragons, have Vivi absorb the damage and revive anyone that needs to be revived, as well as just try and keep people alive while the tents poison the enemy. That's pretty much my strategy for this. Like, there's no other way to do it. I don't see there being any other way to beat these Red Dragons, because it's just too hard at level 1. So pretty much the next fight against the mutated Zorn and Thorn. So this fight I had auto life on Steiner, Quina, and Zidane. And I had half MP on Iifa, I believe. I think I had a half MP, or maybe I didn't. But I pretty much ran it so that everyone would die the first round. Like, if I can get like the first round in, I use Limit Glove with Quina. Then the second attack, hopefully everyone dies. And I have it so that Quina does another Limit Glove, while Steiner does charge. If you don't know what charge does, everyone with really low HP, yellow HP I should say, attacks, including Steiner. So pretty much if you get that with Zidane and Quina, that's like a good 4k damage right there. So pretty much I was running this fight over and over again until I got the perfect RNG, and this was the run. This boss fight wasn't too difficult. Limit Glove just pretty much went right through it. Just put Quina at 1 HP and use Limit Glove for these boss fights, and it's so easy. It is so easy. Now the fight against the Earth Guardian. I pretty much put Reflect on both Zidane and Quina for this fight, while having at least Gaia Gear or Feather Boots on them to absorb any Earth damage, like Earthquake, that Reflect can't reflect back. So whenever the Earth Guardian would use Earthquake, I would absorb that damage as health. It made the fight really easy. The only thing I had to watch out for was his physical attack. So whenever he would physical attack, I would just revive someone, whoever he attacked, and then go back to trying to steal and attack the boss. Now it's time for the fight against the Shell Dragon. This fight, I have to say, my RNG is terrible. I had to use my dark matter here because I just got so fed up with it. So pretty much here, you have to try and survive a hit from the Shell Dragon to let Dagger come in. Dagger will then heal you, and then the Shell Dragon will be killable. Before that, you cannot kill him. You cannot kill the Shell Dragon until Dagger gets into the fray. And the only way Dagger will join the fight is if you somehow survive a hit. You have to somehow survive a hit. Or he does smash, which puts you down to 1 HP. That's the only way to get Dagger in the fight, and it was so brutal. It took me at least a good probably 45 to 1 hour to do this. So I was kind of losing my mind to the point where I used the dark matter just because, like, I already learned Odin on Dagger, so I just used it because I just had enough of it. I had enough of like always getting one shot by the thing and not figuring out what to do. So pretty much you have to survive a hit from the Shell Dragon before it's killable. That's the problem I had, because I thought it was killable beforehand. So if you are ever doing this level 1 run, try and get Dagger into the fray first. Now it's against my boss fight against Garland. Pretty much here, my best source of damage was dead peppers. So pretty much I was spamming dead peppers until I beat the boss. That's pretty much how it went. I pretty much revived anyone that went down, and anyone who would pretty much go down would get revived, and I would spam red peppers, and possibly a limit glove from Quina if Quina was ever at 1 HP. Now the fight against Kuja. Now, there's nothing really to worry about here when he does Flare, like the Flare Star, but pretty much everything else will kill you, but he's got to pretty much spam Flare Star, pretty much. So you're not going to be worrying too much about health, unless he's always targeting Iiko, then you can just, like, you know, revive Iiko. But the boss fight against Kuja was actually fairly simple for something this late in the game. All I had to do was keep my 3 main damage dealers alive, as well as Iiko. Iiko was pretty much soaking up all the damage while I did attacks with everyone else and tried to steal with Zidane. It was actually fairly simple. I was surprised. I thought I would be at this for much longer on these endgame boss fights. Next boss fight against the Nova Dragon, I can't remember what I did here. I honestly can't remember what I did here. I remember I was praying so much that I could get past this boss fight, and I eventually did. But I generally forget what happened because it's such a blur to me. Even when looking back at this, I have no clue how I beat it. I genuinely have no clue how I beat the boss fight. I just got insanely lucky. And I was at this point of trying to think of strategies for this boss fight. I was trying to think of strategies for it, but this is the whole fight here and there. No strategy whatsoever, just pure luck. I was so grateful. for the next 3 fights, I'm going to show them entirely. Besides the Kuja one, which was just kind of boring to look back at because it was just me reviving everyone every third fight, every third attack. So enjoy the video, and then once we get to the end, I want to say thank you. But wait till the end, guys. Wait till the end. I just want to say thank you to everyone. I just want to say thank you to everyone for watching the video. And thank you to everyone for stopping by the live streams when I was doing this. You have no clue to me how much it means to me to do content creation, because it's always been my dream to do content creation. Because I always like thinking of ideas to make other people happy. I want people to enjoy my videos. I want people to enjoy it, to have a good time. And people lately have been showing me so much support during some tough times of mine. Like, medically wise, I'm not the best, but I just want to say thank you to everyone for stopping by, for all the support. It means a lot to me. It really does. I've been trying to work as hard as I can throughout the months, and this month I did the whole fundraising for my food bank, which I was really happy about. Raised quite a bit of money for that, and I've just been so happy to be living, so happy to be loving life. And normally I think of myself as worthless, so it's just, sorry, I'm trying not to cry. It just feels nice that people are appreciating me in a sense that I feel like I'm worth something. That's why I just want to say thank you to everyone. Just thank you. Everyone has changed my whole mindset about things. Even though I can feel sad, I will always try and overcome it, especially during tough times. So I just want to say thank you. Have a great day, and get ready for the next run. I'm not sure what the next run will be, but hopefully it'll one up this run. Woohoo! Thank you guys so much.